Illinois is unique in the country for its collection of scientific surveys. The surveys have a remarkable history spanning over a century and a half. Today, the surveys are internationally recognized, contributing to issues of vital importance to the state and nation. Factors contributing to this success: a focus on relevant issues, the caliber of leaders and staff, objectivity and independence, reputation for excellence, connections with leading scientists, and support from people of influence in times of difficulty. Leading scientists have been associated with the surveys from the beginning. John Wesley Powell, Stephen A. Forbes. Early geological surveys and the State Laboratory of Natural History in Normal are important parts of the history prior to the survey's association with the U of I. In 1917, Governor Frank Loudon reformed state government and created 9 code departments. The geological, water, and natural history surveys were consolidated within the new Department of Registration and Education while retaining the connection to the U of I. A Board of Natural Resources and Conservation was created and given hiring authority. This was profoundly important. The exemption from the Personnel Code allowed the surveys to hire highly qualified staff, and the board provided a buffer against political influence. Thus, the surveys were firmly planted within state government while retaining the advantages of being on the campus and associated with the U of I. Also of importance, the board consisted of the state's eminent scientists. The survey's role in addressing critical issues is a reason for their success. Developing topo maps needed for a new system of roads, studying insects that threaten agriculture, and providing information about water quality and quantity are just a few examples. State support has waxed and waned. In the mid-60s, members of the BNRC thought the surveys lacked a strong voice in Springfield. It is still true today that communication with the governor, political bodies, educational institutions, and the public is necessary. Nothing is certain but death and taxes, and reorganization. Reorganizations were proposed in the 60s and 70s. Concern about funding led to moving the surveys into a new Institute of Natural Resources in 1979, which became the Department of Energy and Natural Resources. Gaylord Donnelly, a conservationist, philanthropist, and businessman who had connection with survey staff in the era of Governor Thompson, was instrumental in this move. He is an example of influential people intervening during difficult times. During the ENR years, the surveys were involved in high-profile issues. Illinois' bid for the superconductor supercollider, proposed siting of a low-level radioactive waste disposal facility, and formation of a new hazardous waste research and information center. In 1995, Governor Edgar created the Department of Natural Resources. A major goal was to ensure that public policy issues related to the environment were based on sound scientific principles. The Surveys and State Museum became an office within DNR. We tried hard to make this work. Derek Winstonley created the sculpture. I'm at the left end, presiding as the head of the office. Dave Thomas, Natural History Survey in the back, playing bird tunes. George Vandervelde, Waste Management Research Center on the left with a trash can lid on his head. Derek Winstonley, Water Survey in the middle, a fish out of water. Bruce McMillan, State Museum Director at the right end. And Bill Schultz, Geosurvey, gesticulating and tied up in knots trying to explain geologic mapping. And then came, so much to say, so little time. DNR suffered massive budgetary challenges, although the intent of the reorganization was to transfer the surveys to DNR to ensure the continued credibility. It became a concern. Here's the primordial soup. During the mid-2000s, the survey chiefs pursued changing their relationships. Swirling in the pot were ideas, political intrigues, schemes with people of influence, and stories yet to be recorded. Out of the primordial soup. The survey severed their 90-year relationship to the state agency and became totally part of the U of I in 2008. And Bill Schultz became the founding director. The institute was renamed the Prairie Research Institute and was expanded, now consisting of the State Archaeological Survey, Geosurvey, Natural History Survey, Sustainable Technology Center, and Water Survey. The founding director of the Prairie Research Institute is a man of many talents. My claim to fame may be getting Bill to do the Macarena along with his fellow survey chiefs and museum director at Lori Nevling's retirement party. You will need to use your imagination here. I was smart enough to leave that page blank. The surveys are venerable and respected institutions. A focus on relevant issues and a reputation for integrity and excellence are reasons for the success. When these values were threatened, the surveys survived through the intervention of people of influence. Understanding this history is relevant to ensuring a strong future.